Hello. Hi, everybody. It's Sandra from Inspired Keys, inspiredkeys.com, and I am jumping on to do another round of Worship Keys live Q&A. So very happy if you are able to join us. Basically, I jump on twice a month to answer Worship Keys questions, and Worship Keys questions could range from questions about like music in general, so the technical aspects of a song, or it can be even more just customized and tailored to exactly your needs. So if you are just wanting to improve in your Worship Keys skills at the moment, you're very welcome to play or share a recording of yourself, play, and then share it with me, share it with the rest of us in the Inspired Keys Academy. There's a whole community of us. We have a private Facebook group, and you're very welcome to post your question, post your recording there, and we will be very happy to share our feedback to help you improve. So it's really about the power of the community. And I see David here joining. Hello, David. Awesome having you again. And now, basically, this is how it works. Inspired Keys Academy members post their questions and I answer them very in-depth in this video. I also have a keyboard software, so when I play something, you're able to see me. However, yes, I pretty much want to honor those who are showing up live. So if you've posted questions, I will be getting to them, but if you show up live, then I'll be answering your questions first. And so I see that David's here, and David's posted a question on our Facebook group. Awesome, awesome seeing you indeed, David. So now I am going to jump into David's question. Then I'll be answering your questions first. Okay, that would be quite strange. I've got another tab open with my YouTube video just to see if the link works, and clearly it does. So let's jump on to David's question, and let me just pull out that Facebook group and find that question, except I don't even know where that link is anymore. Hang on a sec. I know why. That's so silly. I have my Facebook tab open, except I'm using it for the live video, so that means I can't see the question. So I've just loaded it onto a new tab, and here I am. So David has a question. Just waiting for some connectivity issue here. And he says, okay, so he's got two things, and I'm just going to read it out right here. David says, not really a question, but more of a comment. Number one, I find that improvements and gains are realized in small steps in the larger process. They simply cannot be rushed through, but purposefully and arduously walked through. I reckon that's quite true for a lot of things, David. Like, you just can't really rush growing in a certain skill. And even if you do, you can't really be good at it until you've put in the hard work. So I'm not sure if you've heard of the 10,000 hour rule, where I think it's Malcolm Gladwell. Yeah, that's the author's name. And he was just saying in that book called Outliers, I think, you need about 10,000 hours of consistent hard work over a season of time before you really master something. And this is true for sports, for music, for crafts, for any kind of skill, really. So yeah, David, I love that you discover this. You're discovering this right now, because I think, yeah, you are right. You do make like baby steps forward and hopefully not any steps backward. Sometimes that happens because we can't really sustain our continuous practice, and that might happen for any reason. So, but what I love is that you are still pressing on, because I know, David, you've been an Inspired Keys Academy member for a long time, and you are not only cheering others on, but you are also showing that for months now, you know, you've just been working hard, you've been practicing, you've been putting in all that technical exercise, and you are serving, but you're also a pastor. That's pretty impressive, like, you know, just doing so many things and wearing so many hats. So David, keep running that race. What I love is that you are improving, but it's just that you feel that you are making just very sort of small steps, and small steps are good, okay? And keep going towards your goal. They simply cannot be rushed, though. through, but purposefully and arduously walked through. Yep. So I love what you say, and thank you so much for that observation. So number 2, David says, I do notice that sometimes when a key change is made in some music, but not all, it is usually to a higher key as the piece builds in intensity. Yes, and I think that just basically makes sense. You do want to sort of raise, when you have a song, you just want to grow. It's just like when a baby is born, the baby's just, there's only one way to go forward, to go bigger, to go higher, to go taller. And so in the same way, same goes for the pitch, and same goes for the volume, and the key. It usually rises. In my whole life, okay, well, there might have been music in the world that modulates. Modulate just means to change the key, that modulates downwards, but then they usually have a purpose for that. Either it's like an intentional thing, so they're just trying to make it sound like the music's just maybe it's music to describe something falling downwards. That was just one thing I can think of. Not that would be really kind of just like maybe background music to a movie or something. But then otherwise, the other thing I can think of is it could be modulating downwards, but it's a relative key. So for example, E flat major to C minor, where they're very much sharing the same notes. And then you can go downwards, but it's sort of, there's a purpose to it. And I'm thinking a lot more of like classical compositions here. So you can have all kinds of modulations really in maybe, and I'm jumping into some really technical stuff here, where if you know about like the sonata form, and then you have a development section in the middle, and then you have this section where every 2 bars you modulate crazily, because that's the whole point. It's a development section. You're taking a piece of the music and you're just changing the key and growing the music that way. So it happens, that can happen. And so, but we're talking about worship keys here. And in worship keys, I've never heard of music going downwards. So in this realm, in this sphere, it's pretty much always just building up. And yeah, so that's a very relevant and accurate observation, David. And he says, are there any times when a key change can be to a lower key and still maintain the energy or the color of the music? I reckon I don't really want to like set things in stone, like, you know, you'll never ever see music going downwards, but it can be a bit deflating. Yeah, like the effect is just like, you know, like when you flatten something, it's just not so cool. And when you have something like worship and it's usually live and you are trying to push in, by going downwards, we're kind of taking a step back and it then doesn't really sound so good. So maybe I'm just gonna have some fun here and we're gonna do an example. Okay, so I'm just gonna play. And the first song that comes to my mind that is more like it can go up a key, right? You know, the typical way that you sort of just raise a key. I am thinking of How Great Is Our God. So I'm just gonna plonk around to that one, okay? So what I'm gonna do is just gonna load my keyboard software and get ready to play. I reckon I'm just gonna do G major because I think that is the key. So I'm just gonna set that as G major. And what I will do is to now go onto my YouTube live, and all of you in the YouTube live world will see that software. Pretty much you will see my keyboard. Yep, that's right. Present to everyone, and here it is. I am live on YouTube. So those on Facebook Live, if you're watching me in our Facebook group, please click the link that I shared at the very top of our chat box. So here we go. This is going to be an interesting one. What have we got here? So we're doing How Great Is Our God, right? I'm just going to jam through, and I'm going to go down a key from G to F, and let's see the effect of that. Okay, but wait, hang on. Let me just make sure I really answer David's question. Are there any times when a key change can be to a lower key and still maintain the energy or the color? So are we talking about maintaining here, or are we talking about building, or maybe we're taking a step back? I mean, we're just kind of experimenting musically right now. So let me just try that. So how great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? I will see how Sorry, this is just fun for me as well, like just to figure it out, like how it goes. It's strange, right? Like I just felt like I can't even continue. Like, okay, let's just press on a little bit more and let's just like analyze the effect of that. How great is our God? How great is our God? Yeah, it's just strange. It's kind of like just building up to go back one step, which is very strange. So, yeah, I think, yeah, the logical thing will be to just go up. So if it's like a G major, then the next step up can really be a choice of A flat. Going up a tone is the common thing here, and I'm not sure why this software is very unstable. I have to quit it because it's decided to quit on its own. So guys, sorry if you are just watching my keyboard. And if that still doesn't work, I'm going to use another software that's a little bit more stable. And so, yep, YouTube people, let me just go back to sharing that screen again. And I hope Cody will cooperate this time. Yep. So, yeah, it's a bit strange. I definitely feel it's strange. So what usually happens is when you're preparing to go into a new key, so say we're in G and we're going up to A, then you want to do like a perfect cadence into the new key. And the perfect cadence is created by a chord 5 and a chord 1. So if your new key is A major, the chord 5 of A major will be an E chord. And so I will probably, the logical thing to do here is, oh, see how great is our God. And then here we go into the E chord. How great. Right? So yeah, I think it definitely feels like musically it leads better. If, for example, now I'm going to go from G to F. And then so to go into F major, I'm going to have to go into a chord C. Yeah, so yeah, David, just to answer your question, no, I don't think it's going to work unless you're trying to like just go really quiet or something. So yeah, David, thank you so much for your question. Going lower does not work. I like how we just kind of did like a musical experimentation here, but that's the whole point, and that's why we do what we do. So hey, Adele's joined us. Hello, Adele. I'm gonna go ahead and answer the next question right now. We have a question from new Inspired Keys Academy member, Holly. Hello, Holly. So Holly says, I would love some ideas for what to play in the left hand when the right hand is playing a melody for this song. And she puts in brackets, Hosanna, I can attach what I have to play from. Yep, I don't see an attachment, but you're very welcome to share that. Okay, so she goes on with, for this song, Hosanna, the worship leader wants me to play the melody while he quietly picks out the chords in the background during the offertory where no one is singing. Ah, okay. Worship leader wants her to play just the melody while he picks out the chords. I'm not sure if that means he is plucking on the acoustic guitar or something, but I am going to assume that is the case unless Holly is here live with us and she can clarify. And so she continues with, he wants to start and end with the chorus with just me and him playing. And the verse 1 and verse 2 will also have the electric guitar and probably drums. Cool. I have just started playing keyboard and piano again after not playing much at all for about 15 years. Woohoo! Welcome back. I played from 1st to 2nd grade and 1st to 12th grade, and that's awesome. I'm starting your 31 days ebook, woohoo, but I need some help in the meantime while I'm working through that, and that's absolutely okay. So back to the question, Holly says, I would love some ideas for what to play in the left hand when the right hand is playing melody. Okay, so it really depends on the context here. And what I might do is to give you a few options. But if we're talking about Hosanna, and I don't think there are a lot of Hosannas, I mean, there might be a couple, but the most obvious Hosanna that I can think of is Hillsong's Hosanna, which is Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. And I'm just going to assume it's that one. So please, please, please correct me if I am wrong, Adele. But yep, let's just go right back to her question. And she says, ideas for what to play on the left hand when the right hand is playing melody. So if we're talking about offertory, which is, it sounds like it's a very quiet moment, you don't really want to overdo it, then you want to do something a little bit more just quiet and unobtrusive and in the background and meditative. And then if it's something like a performance where you definitely want people to watch you because it's like an item, then you want to do a little bit more. So I'm going to assume right now we're trying to keep things a little bit mellow. The worship leader wants you to play the melody while he quietly picks up the chords in the background, and he wants to start and end with the chorus. It's just me and him playing. Okay, so this is, you know what, there can be all kinds of possibilities here. So what I'm just going to do is to give you some ideas. And if I am not wrong, the key of Hosanna is G again. I just don't want to make you feel like it's going to be always G, but for some reason the songs I picked are very G songs. So I'm just going to go ahead and think how I'm going to do that. And certainly a very sniffy morning. Okay, so Hosanna. I'm just gonna not turn on sustain on overlay because I don't like the way that looks. So instrumental Hosanna, right? So I'm gonna do it like a mellow version first. Something that's really quiet with minimal. Ah, dear me. Not sure why. Guys, this software is really so glitchy. I think I'm gonna just have to use a different one. So please bear with me. Yep, it's just decided to shut down again. I'm gonna turn on my Ridiculous. It's not as detailed in its interface, but at least you get more stability. So I'm gonna go ahead and share that right now with the YouTube link. And there we go. You are looking at my Ridiculous software, guys. So here's how I will probably do. It doesn't work like this. Yeah, it's a bit annoying when you have to see the keyboard and then the keyboard again on the background. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so Hosanna. Okay, so a really held back version. So I'm just going to keep it really simple. So basically I'm trying to put in very sparse left hand. It didn't really get sparse by the chorus because I felt like it was just going to be too quiet. Like you could really keep it quieter where it's just chord, but I felt like I needed some movement where it's like 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3. I wanted to hear that kind of a rhythm going on, but otherwise you could keep it super sparse, like. Right, so you could totally do that, and there's less movement, less rhythms, and it creates a more sparse sound. Right now, I'm going to go ahead into something a little bit more busy. So say this is verse 2. and so forth. You just carry on. I hope you get what I was trying to do. Basically, I tried to, because it gets a little bit thin if the right hand just has a melody layer. So I tried to harmonize it with a couple of harmony notes. So that would just be entirely right hand. And then my left hand was just doing. Now, I think something to really think about, Holly, is to make sure that you are gelling, blending nicely with the acoustic guitarist, because you really, the last thing you want to do is to clash with him. It is really important to listen to what other people are doing and then sort of either filling in the holes where if they're doing this thing, you will do something else to make a more holistic and beautiful patchwork, as opposed to doing the same thing, because then you might as well not do it because someone else is already doing that layer. So say the acoustic guitarist is playing exactly the same, like, because this is a very plucking acoustic guitar style anyway. So Holly, if someone else is doing that, the worship leader is doing that, I probably won't do it, just because there's no point just doubling that. In fact, if you double up, it gets a bit messy sometimes when you're both not playing at the same time, and you end up getting like let's just say you're an octave apart, like you go. And it just doesn't sound good. It's not, what's the word? It's not tight. So maybe you could even try pad, where instead of piano, which is very percussive, you could go. And so forth. So just experiment with your options here. I personally feel like if the acoustic guitarist is not doing very much, then do more. So what's important is to make sure that you are sounding good as a whole. Never just think about yourself, because we are in a band after all, and you have an acoustic guitarist who is playing with you. Listen to what he or she is doing, fill in the gaps, or add value to it, like using a pad, so that you guys are doing different kinds of stuff and that the whole sound is good and it makes sense. Which is why I feel like as a keyboardist, sometimes we are very much like a song arranger, because we have to think about the overall sound and decide how to complement with other people based on who we have in the team. Because we are, I feel, very versatile, especially if you have a keyboard that allows you to use pads as well. So that's definitely what I just have to say. So cool, David, thank you so much for all your encouraging words in our text, in our chat right here. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Holly. Now, I hope I've answered your question. And if I haven't, or if you have something else to add to it, please don't hesitate to reply to that comment. And I am going to jump right into what I seem to see as the last question I have for this morning. And it's by Anton. Now, Anton says, hey, Sandra, blessed morning to you. Blessed morning to you too, Anton. He says, so how I think you probably covered this already, but I think I missed it and probably would want you to go a little bit deeper. My question is playing with both hands. When I usually do, my left hand plays the bass note of the chord, yeah, while my right hand plays the chord. I realized that you break up the chord between both left and right hand instead of just left playing bass and right hand playing the full chord. Can you shed some light on this and various examples using the same chord? Yeah, that's a really good observation, Anton, and really hats off to you for realizing that. Basically, there are some principles. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and explore some possibilities here. I can see that. I'm just going to pull that up again. Okay, so that way you can see what I'm playing. So, can't think of a song, so let's just use Hosanna again, okay? So we've got Hosanna, and then, so Anton is saying he's playing bass on the left hand. Oops, turn on piano and turn off pad. Cool. So I'm gonna do it really sort of like simple and extremely no fuss, no frills way. So. Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna. Cool. Okay, so now that's how you can play. It's very simple, of course. So he's asking me to explain how I split between the right and left hand. So it really depends on what kind of sound I want for the moment. Say this is like a sort of starting of the song and it's nice and quiet. I might go. Okay, so now what I'm doing is my left hand's playing that one note on the bass and my right hand's playing everything else, okay? So okay, now I need to explain because I need to think about what I am actually doing here, how I decide on what notes to play with my right and left hand. Okay, so this is the principle. If you have something like a G major chord, this is called closed voicings, where everything's really close by. They're all in thirds, basically. That's very, very, very close, and it doesn't sound as good as if you spread them out. So if I have to play a G chord like this, I would probably not play it like this. I would play G at the bottom, so let go of that top G, and just play that low one. And then I'll probably play D, so let go of the top one there, and then I'll play a B. Okay, so now this is called an open voicing, where the chords, the notes in between are really quite spaced out, and it just sounds so much better. Okay, so now if you think about Hosanna, the first chord was a G/B, which is a G first inversion, which basically is a G with a B in the bass. So I probably won't play it in this shape. I will play it like this. Okay, so instead of that, B goes one octave lower, and then G goes one octave lower, and then D's here. Okay, and then I'm just doing the same with all the other chords. This is a C chord, and then here's my next chord. This is a D chord, and then an E minor chord. And then Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. So perhaps, Anton, what you've got to try and do if you want to start splitting, having both hands play, but play in a more advanced and I personally feel but much nicer sounding way, where it's not so close together and the sound's just so squished. Try to split them out like what I just showed you. And then once you're comfortable with that, you see when you split out, the chord becomes very far away. So that's where your right hand needs to help you play those notes that are very far away, right? So I can't do this with one hand. I wish I can though, because sometimes my right hand can do like, right? And I'm trying to do right hand melody fancy stuff, but my left hand just can't stretch. The biggest I can do is one octave and one note. So that's what I can do, but I can't do which is perfect, because that is a 10th interval, which really is a compound third. And what that means is it's just thirds sound great, right? So that's thirds. So if you split them an octave apart, it sounds great as well. But I just can't do it. I wish I can. I wish I'm a little bit taller or have longer fingers. Maybe not too much taller, because yeah, I just don't want to like bang into door frames and stuff. But yeah, that's like a principle. You want to split those notes apart so that you're able to still sound the same kind of harmony notes, but split them further away. But because they're so much further away, Anton, I end up having to use my right hand to play those notes on the very top. So now let's just sort of dress up the Hosanna chords again. So instead of just, so basically I'm just playing everything left hand, the lowest bass note. and then my right hand's playing everything else, okay? So this is the way it splits. So, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Now, I personally feel like that's not the best sounding. This is probably appropriate for like something quieter, like a verse one, chorus one. But if I were going a little bit bigger now, I might move my left hand down to an octave apart, maybe like. Nah, I have a 61 key, so I kind of need to move my octave down now. So can you see how if I were to create something that far apart, I definitely need my right hand to help. Right hand doing that, obviously, and my left hand doing that. And then, of course, that kind of a pattern where it's currently is just kind of chord, chord. But if I were to go and split them into something that's a bit more broken, so then it becomes. So that's where my right hand really needs to help to play those stuff on the right. So first, devise what kind of sound you want, and then just logically split what your left and right hand can handle. Sometimes my left hand's playing not just the bass note, but the bass and the second lowest. Sometimes it's playing the bass and second and the third lowest. So it really isn't set in stone. But what you really need to do, Anton, is to first come up with a plan on what kind of a chord shape you want. And I think once you get that covered, you are pretty much ready to just jam and play, logically splitting what your right and your left hand should play. Now, Anton, what I'd love to do is, I know this is a very difficult thing to understand, but I'd like you to just, if you find that this is not really going deep enough for you to understand, please record yourself play so I can hear how you are currently playing. And then I can give you some suggestions on how you can spread out your chord a little bit, which gives that open voicing, which also sounds, in my opinion, better, less kind of congested, and just more pleasant overall. And then from that broadened voicing, I can give you some specific ideas or maybe even instructions, if you prefer, on exactly what the right hand should play and what the left hand should play. So that's how I feel I can better be able to assist you if you send me something like that to work with. And guys, that's all the questions I have. So thank you very much, David, Holly, Anton. Appreciate all your questions. And guys, I'm gonna hop right off now. I am going to post a high quality replay of this onto our Academy, and then Inspired Keys Academy members are welcome to go into our forum to access this video, because not everyone's able to wake up at 9:15 a.m. Melbourne time, which I know it's anytime, anywhere for. It's crazy. I know it's not possible to attend stuff like that. So those of you who did attend, and today we have David with us the whole way. Thank you, David. I really, really appreciate what you do with and for us in the Academy. And thank you guys who are watching live on YouTube as well. Really appreciate your help and your support. Until next time, keep serving on the keys. Take care, guys. Bye.